Hotepish with your host, Dwan B. Intelligent ish talk, intelligent shit talk, where we balance the profound with the profane. Political satire, celebrity and expert guests, information and entertainment, conversation and solutions. Leave your feelings at the door.
Talk, intelligent shit talk. Thank y'all for joining me today. What's up, Dr. Sinister? What's up, Mr. Me, Mississippi in the building? What's up, Evan? What's up, Davey Lee, Ben Frank? Oh, you got the notification this time. Okay, YouTube. YouTube actually sending out notifications. Detroit in the house. Is this starting to warm up in Detroit? When I think of Detroit, I just think of cold. I cannot do cold weather. When LA get below 65 degrees, I'm mad. When it get below 57, I'm downright indignant, angry. LA was 85 degrees yesterday. It's going to be 80 today. Sunday is going to be back down to 65. I appreciate that, Alfred Elliott. North Carolina checking in. I've been to North Carolina. I've been to Charlotte to watch my Lakers play against the Charlotte Bobcats. Y'all remember when the Charlotte Bobcats was around before they became the Hornets again? That's how much of a basketball fan I am. I'm one of the few people who can say they've flown to Charlotte to watch the Bobcats play, nonetheless. Against the Lakers. And then the other game I saw them play against was, I saw two games. The other game, I forgot who it was against. I think it was against the Boston Celtics. When the Celtics had Kevin Garnett. I've been to Charlotte, and I've been to Rocky Mount and Goldsboro. Rocky Mount, man, I felt like shit. I felt like I was back in time when I was in Rocky Mount. And then when I went to Goldsboro, that was even more in the sticks. That was my first time ever eating at Waffle House. Yeah, North Carolina. I think I've been 2 or 3 times. What's up, Mickey Knox on the road? What's up, William Terry? Yeah, I like LA, man. LA weather. People be like the rent's going up. I'm like, so I'll just make more money, whatever. I'm not leaving this good weather. Now I would like to have a second home to somewhere down south, somewhere in Texas, maybe Georgia. But as far as where I live, man, that shit's always gonna be LA. What's up, John Clark? Yeah, Rocky Mount was country as hell. I was out there playing the drums. I was out there playing the drums with a church, the church I used to go to. They had some kind of revival thing with some other church out in Rocky Mount. They rented out this big ass auditorium, and like 28 people showed up. That shit fell on his face. But why else would I be in Rocky Mount other than a church activity? No one goes on vacation to Rocky Mount, North Carolina. That's not a destination city. You say you mess with Boston heavy? I want to go to Boston. Larry told me a lot about Boston. I want to go to Boston. I know a few cats from Boston. Two of them is weirdos though. Like the people I know from Boston, not all of them, but two in particular. These cats is weird, so it left a bad taste in my mouth about Boston. Plus, I don't like the Celtics. I'm a Laker fan. But there is a lot of history in Boston that I do want to see. Because y'all know me, I love history. So I do want to see some of that shit up close. Specifically, Boston and Philadelphia. I've never been to those two dirty ass little cities. But I want to go. Yeah, I call Boston dirty because they got them weird ass Irish people running all racist as hell to the black people. Boston is super. One thing I do know about Boston is how racist it is. I remember a story when I was playing basketball. One of my coaches used to play for the Celtics. His name was Carrick DeHart. He taught me how to shoot. That's why my jump shot was so wet when I hooped. I remember he got drafted by the Celtics in 1989. And I remember him telling me a story about getting off at the wrong subway stop. And like some Russians or whatever saw his black ass in the wrong neighborhood and started to chase him. And he ran to the Boston Garden. And luckily, Larry Bird happened to be getting out of his car when he was running up. And they knew Larry was like, oh, you play for the Celtics? Oh, shit, my bad. But if he didn't run up to the Boston Garden and Larry Bird happened to be getting out of his car at that time, it could have been some real problems. I remember he told me that story when I was like 14. I was like, damn. But he said he did say them Boston Celtics fans love him. I've known a few cats that played for the Boston Celtics. They love their Negro athletes. I've had no less than a dozen conversations with different people who play for the Boston Celtics, and they all said they love their Negro athletes. But if you ain't one of the athletes, sorry for ya. Yeah, man. I do want to go to Boston one day. Why don't y'all share the video, man? Hey, do me a favor and share these videos, because y'all know I talk information to help. These video counts have gone down drastically, and that's because people aren't getting notifications. I looked at the comment section on my last 3 videos. Don't listen to me. Just look up the post comments after my videos. You get a ton of I didn't get the notification. On YouTube, I'm getting a lot of people telling me, I'm not YouTube, on Facebook, I'm getting people telling me that they didn't even know I've been broadcasting the last 3 weeks because they haven't seen anything. Not only have they not got notifications, they hadn't even like scrolling through my channel hasn't shown any videos being recorded. And that's what people on Facebook told me. So yeah, you know what that's about when it comes to black people spreading information that's pertinent to us, that helps us grow. It's a little tougher for us to grow our channels like that. So that's why we really, really, really need you to share it and talk to people casually about it. You know the people that's on your wavelength. Now, if you're talking about people who don't want to hear anything to help us out, then no, don't share it to them because we don't want to argue. I don't like to argue with people. But we all know people who are on the same level of thinking we on. You know, we all know those people. So share these videos amongst those people. Each one teach one. We here to grow. Yeah. I appreciate that, Herb Saint. Yeah, Yeah, that's what we got to do now. If I was, on the fluffy nonsense, you be getting notification bells left and right. But I guess YouTube has found out I'm talking that real shit. So, hey, whatever. But yeah, we going to talk about finding motivation from within today. I want to look at some of your questions that you may have about motivation, because as you know, my webinar is coming up this Sunday, May 2nd. My webinars will be here, and it'll be on my new book coming out, No Time to Waste, a self-motivation guidebook. Let me tell you something, people. It's only going to be $8 for the book itself. But if you sign up for the webinar is only $30. We'll go through the book, and I'll be able to explain what was behind the book and explain some of the techniques that I give people, and I've been giving people for over 10 years now, on how to find their gifts from within and what self-motivation is. Self-motivation is motivation that you derive from yourself, not what people told you, not what haters think, or none of the cliches people say. Self-motivation is motivating yourself to cultivate the gifts that are already within you. Most people don't even know they have gifts, let alone, if they do know they have gifts, how to get them up out of them. I've been helping motherfuckers for a long time do this. And yes, I do cuss, because I'm very real when I teach. Very real when I teach. I'm extremely real when I teach. You can't teach from a powder puff point of view. You got to let it flow how you feel it. You feel me? So that's what this webinar is about. It's methods that I've been using for a long time to help people find their inner gifts. And I'm just putting this shit out there for mass consumption now, because it's that time. Like, I've been under the radar for a long time. Yeah, the book will be on my website. I'll have it on my link when it's up. I'll have it on my link tree, the direct link to the book. Just like right now, if you want to sign up for the webinar, if you go in the description bar and go into my link tree, you will find, oh shit, I'm over here looking up in here. I didn't even put the link tree in the description bar. Dwan, you tripping. I'm over here trying to tell y'all to go somewhere, and the shit ain't even there. Hey, we all trip sometime. I'm about to put it in the description bar right now. I'm about to put my link tree in the description bar. And what I want y'all to do is go to where it says webinar and purchase your seat. It's limited availability. I've sold the majority of the tickets I have available. It's limited availability, because I want to be able to speak to people who have questions. So almost all the tickets are sold out. So I need you guys to go there now. Go now and purchase your seat. If you can't be there live Sunday, 1 to 4 p.m., I will have it up, re-uploaded later to my website, so you can go back and watch it for the same price. And if you go back and rewatch the webinar, you'll also get the book. The book comes with it. Or you can just buy the book yourself. The reason why the book is so short is because it's a guidebook. Guidebook means something that you don't only read it once and sit down. You apply it, and then you open the book back up. You apply more, you open it back up, and you apply more. It's an application book. This isn't some stuff that you read and say, oh, that sounds good. No. You do it. You dig? My webinar is this coming Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Because, like I said, I've been doing this underground at my job and with my clients for a long time. I've been very, very, very hesitant about doing this kind of in the mainstream, kind of putting it out there. Been very hesitant because we all have our quirks and weird idiosyncrasies, whatever the fuck word that is. And mine was, I had had a lot of fear about putting this side of me out there. It's easy to go up there and crack jokes. That's some weird shit, ain't it? Most people hate stand-up comedy, but they talk about their job. Most people would hate to be deathly afraid to get on stage and tell jokes, but would be willingly open to talk about what they do and how they do it. Nigga, I'm backwards. Getting on stage and telling jokes is easy as hell. Put myself out there to help folks like this, on this level, this was something that I had to overcome. But again, I had to overcome it because it was a calling from within. When you get those callings from within, they're undeniable. A lot of people are just afraid or don't know how to push it out. And that's why I wrote this book. It's my own story. This isn't me teaching from a conceptual point of view. This isn't me saying, I think this worked, or I saw what such and such and such and such are doing, and that sounds good, so I'm gonna say it in my own way. No. This is what I actually have done to motivate myself and others who want to be motivated. You dig? Yeah, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, West Coast time. Pacific time, West Coast time. Yeah, bald head. Tired of being complaining about your life. Like Craig hit on a good point yesterday on Craig Facts. You know what I mean? If you got complaints about your situation, that means you got to change it. That mean people on one hand will say they accept mediocrity. The only way you know you truly you've accepted mediocrity is if you don't have any complaints. If the amount of money you're making is more than enough to pay for the things and do the things you desire, live in the neighborhood you desire to live in, drive the car you truly desire to drive, and everybody don't desire to drive a $100,000 car. Your level of desire may truly be at the Toyota Camry level. I get it. I'm completely content with my Honda Accord. But that's also because I've had those fancier cars and, they're cool. But I need a workhorse. But if you truly are content, that means you don't have any complaints. That means you're good. You probably don't need this book. You probably do not need to read this because what you have going on in your life is on the level you desire. Now, if you're continuously frustrated, living paycheck to paycheck, having anxiety over whether or not you'll have enough, if you go to a job you really don't fuck with, like you really don't like your job, the money may be cool. Hell, I've done this work with people who make $500,000 a year plus and be miserable. It's always not about the money. It's about how happy you are with your day-to-day life. If you have these major stresses, maybe you need to look in a different direction. The mistake people make when they look in different directions, and I'll be talking about this, I'll be going into detail with all this on my webinar. The mistake people make when they're looking into a different direction is they look towards other people. They look at what other people are doing. Oh, that person drives a car that I want, and they do this. Maybe I should do that too. That. Or you get the other people who end up selling Herbalife or one of these pyramid things because they see someone else living a lifestyle that they desire. Here's what you got to understand about the pyramid schemes. They're not all schemes. Most of them are. Some of them are legit. But here's what you got to understand about that. The people who are very successful in those pyramids, whether you're talking about Avon, Mary Kay, Herbalife, or whatever, those people are going to be successful at selling anything. As a matter of fact, they're probably undercutting themselves because if they did real estate, they'd make way more than they're making with Mary Kay. People who have that knack for sales can sell anything. So you're comparing yourself to someone who has that knack for sales, or they're already professionally trained in sales. You work at a desk job. You don't do sales. You're not going to make that. You're not going to get three more people. You're going to get 2 or 3 more people to come in up under you. And then within 9 months or less, it's over with. Point seen, money gone. These are the mistakes people make over and over and over again. Why are they mistakes? Because if the motivation is what someone else is doing, that means it's probably not for you. It didn't come from you. It has to come from within. Now, with that being said, you may have certain things that are in you. When you see other people doing that thing, it connects. And you don't even know why it's connecting. Like when I was a kid, I would always stare at the drummer at church when I was a little kid. When I was going back to when I was 2 years old, 3 years old. The only reason why I liked going to church was to see the drummer play. Then I realized that's because that's what I wanted to do, play the drums. Of all performers, as much as I love music, I always found myself connecting with comedians more. I've always liked teachers that are really good. Like Furious Styles was my favorite character on Boys in the Hood when I was 10. Same with Lawrence Fishburne's character in Higher Learning. I just always had an affinity for his history documentaries. I would be 5 and 6 years old, sitting in my dad's lap, watching history documentaries. When I was 3, he'd be watching documentaries on Motown, and I'd be right there with him. These things were always there, so when I would see these things, there would be a connection to it. That's the things within. Come to find out, I grow up, I have a life where I teach. I love learning so I can pass information, although I hated school. I'm a stand-up comedian and a drummer. Kind of do all the things everything that I do right now in life were things that when I was 4, 5, 6 years old, I was automatically drawn to. The first celebrity death that really hurt my feelings and made me cry was when Robin Harris died. I was only 9 years old when Robin Harris died in 1990. I was 9. But that affected me deeply. I had to have this connection to comedians I didn't understand. So now I'm in my 30s, coming up on 40. I'll be 40 in a couple months. As I touch 40, I can honestly say every way I make an income is through doing something that I've always had a natural drawing to, going back to my earliest memories. They're the easiest things for me to do. Communicating to me is easy. So teaching communication is super easy. My parents did a great job with communicating to one another and with me. So I grew up in a great household with communication. It's a natural ability that I have. I followed my heart and got a college degree in it. So teaching that shit is easy for me. So I get to charge what I want to charge, and people really hire me every day to solve their communication problems in their relationships. Do you know how fun that is to do that? I'm a natural helper. I've always loved to help. So I get to help. I get to help people save their relationships. And I get the occasional call back of how I help people get through tough times in their life. Working with kids. I've always liked working with kids. You see my website? Should have been up. I gotta hit my web guy up. Just check my Google reviews. People fucking love my work. But they love it because I love it. They love it because I love it. And I want to help people have that same joy. So I use my natural ability to communicate that I cultivated through the university system and teach something I've always loved since the age of 3. And I get to help something I've always loved to do since the day I was born. Solve issues not only within my community, but with anyone who wants to solve their issues. Because my community, on top of the Black First community, my community is also people who love themselves, or at least want to get on that pathway to loving themselves and don't really trip on this life thing. Have fun. People who like to have fun and do fun shit. That's my community. People who ain't intimidated by other people's success. That's my community. People who see other people's success as motivation to keep pushing for their own success. That's my community. So I'm about to do it. And I've been having this idea to do a webinar on my mind. No lie, y'all. This has been on my mind for 3 years to do. I've been telling people, my wife, that nigga Larry, y'all know that sorry nigga Larry. That's my boy. Me and that nigga talk almost every day. We be motivating each other. Like I told Craig probably 2 years ago. Now I'm gonna do a webinar. Never got around to doing it. Cause sometimes the things you want be so real, so vivid, you self-sabotage and do things to get in your own way. I appreciate the Cash App, Kevin Horgan. I appreciate that. Oftentimes when we get to the cusp of doing the things we really want to do and really know to do and really love to do, we'll self-sabotage. We'll put a false barrier between ourselves and our goal. People do false barriers all the time. What's one false barrier? Man, haters. Man, haters always getting in your way. The only thing a hater can do is be a speed bump on a fast track. That's all a hater can do. They may be able to slow you down. But a hater can't stop you. They can't stop shit. A whole legion of haters can't stop you. Because if your motivation is guided from within, that same internal voice that spoke to you and dropped that motivation in on you, that same voice is going to tell you who the hell the haters are anyway. It may be somebody right next to you, but you'll have that internal notion to, hey, you be getting ready to tell that person something, and then you'll get this strong internal feeling like, no, don't say that. Don't tell that person that. But you told them anyway. You know your motivation from within, and you know the voice that gave you that motivation. Because you're not going to have motivation. You're not going to have a path created for you. You're not going to have a goal that's put in you without a path to get you there. Another false illusion that people get in the way, because we got to see things on different levels. Yes, the system of white supremacy exists. Yes, the system is there to stop black people from getting the things that we desire. But even that's an illusion. It's nothing but a barrier. It's nothing but a roadblock. Plenty of ways to get around blocks. You can jump over blocks. You can dig under blocks. You can walk around blocks. Appreciate the cash out, Marilyn. Appreciate that. You can walk around the blocks. You can create. You can go ahead and invent a jetpack and fly over the motherfucking block. A helicopter. You can pole vault over the block. You can get a hammer and you can knock the block down. It's an infinite amount of ways to handle a block. Yeah, racism exists. But if for you to allow that to stop you from getting where you want to go, that's your choice. You allowed them to win. Because all they did was put up the block. Hell, what the hell you think football is? Football is give the ball to one motherfucker and let 11 motherfuckers try to tackle that one dude. And yeah, you may have some assistance in blocking, but you don't have people coming at you from left, right, all around. Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, they're the greatest running backs of all time. Because when the blocks failed and the people came at them to block them from getting to the touchdown, they juked, they hurdled, they spun, they did whatever it took to shake around that block. Allen Iverson is one of the greatest guards ever, because no matter what defense you put on him, he shook, juked, went around, shot over, did whatever it took to get around that block. The winners are the people who win in spite of the blocks. That's what this webinar is helping us with. Because we as a people, we have the skills it takes to get around whatever blocks. We see it in sports every day. The same footwork Barry Sanders uses to get around the Chicago Bears defense is the same mental maneuvering your mind has to get around the musty mayonnaise people. Appreciate the Cash App, Art. Thank you. Y'all dope as hell. The same skill Kyrie Irving uses to shake defenders, you have mentally to shake people who get in your way. You got all that shit inside of you. The biggest thing white supremacy's done to us is make us forget who the fuck we really are. White supremacy ain't shit if you know who you are, nigga. I said it just like that. White supremacy ain't shit to a melanated individual who knows who they are and how to work who they are to attain the things that they desire. White supremacy ain't shit. The time zone on the webinar is Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. on Sunday. White supremacy is this big ass illusion. It's their reality that they've impressed on you. Let me tell you something about reality. Reality is within your power to control. There is no one reality. There is life according to how you perceive it. The reason why I wrote a self-motivation guidebook is because I cannot tell you how to look. I can't tell you how to see life. I can't teach you how to approach life from your perspective. The only thing I can do is help you get clear on your perspective. See, that's what I'm doing with this book. I'm not telling you how to live your life. I'm not telling you how to be me or be LeBron James or be Michael Jordan or whoever you want to be. I'm teaching you in this book the tools it takes to find you. And once you find you, you know what the hell to do and how to work it. Those answers will reveal themselves to you. The reason why so many people are miserable is because they're living someone else's reality. People are miserable because they're living somebody else said, hey, you need to go to college. Somebody else said, hey, you need to find a good job. And don't they always have that same bullshit ass? What do they say? You can be a doctor or a lawyer. Oh my God, I hate that fucking cliche. Oh my God. I noticed that long ago, like on my job, my last job. We would be working with kids who need to be working with their hands. And that's another thing. Most people need to really work with their hands. And that's where the money is anyway. They come in talking about something. You can be a doctor or a lawyer. Look, this kid be ditching middle school. You think telling them to go to school for 8 more years after they graduate high school is a motivation of level of anything? You can't tell a kid who absolutely abhors and hates school, but super talented. I had one kid he would break his PlayStation down and refix it and fix it back up, but hated school. You telling this kid to be a doctor or a lawyer when he has a skill set right now that if you just train him to be an electrician or a plumber or somebody who does anything technical with his hands, he can make more money by the age of 22 than most college graduates gonna make before they reach the age of 50. But you could be a doctor or a lawyer. Look, everybody don't want to be a fucking doctor or a lawyer. And who the hell made that the number 2 professions to be anyway? To be a lawyer, you got to be a scandalous ass liar. A scandalous ass liar, depending on what side of the law you're on or what part of law you do. You hate homework, but to be a lawyer, you got to be filing paperwork 17 hours a day at the law firm 6 days a week and 8 hours on your off day. Everybody want to do that shit. Like, the school system made people feel bad for wanting to be a bus driver. I know some very happy bus drivers. They love to drive. They get paid an amount that covers they bills at the house. They're not stuck in the office. There's tons of ways, motivations. It ain't just no damn doctor or lawyer. Get that bullshit cliche out of here. And unfortunately for our kids, I'm going to get to y'all questions in a second, so save y'all questions. I'm going to get to y'all questions in a few minutes. I appreciate the cash app, Miss Shawnee. I appreciate that. Y'all dope. Y'all real dope. Appreciate that. I'm going to get to y'all questions in a second. I'm just monologuing right now. I'm going to get to y'all questions in 1 second. I will see one thing that really pushed me in this work to write this book and to really help people find their inner gifts was my years working as a basketball coach. And also just with black children in general. I've been working with black children since I was 14. I was a child working with children. When I was 14, I was tutoring the 7-year-olds in King Drew Medical Center in Watts. I've never not done this, work with our kids. Even as a child, I've never not worked with our children. I remember going through when I coached basketball, it's like the more, when you ask black children, and this was me too, this is not just working with kids, this was me also. So many black children think being an athlete or an entertainer is the only way out. That's the way out. They want to entertain in some capacity, rap, act, dance, or whatever. Or they want to play a sport. Basketball, football, you pick it. So many black parents raise their black children that to get a scholarship, they got to play a sport. As if the term isn't scholarship. The first word is scholar, meaning you can get a scholarship in any goddamn thing you're good at. Meaning you can get $1 at anything you're good at. But we'll filter kids into these small luck of the draw fields. Not understanding that there's far more guaranteed ways to get out than athlete or entertainer. I realized the whole being an athlete thing was a sham when I got my first athlete to the NBA. And I saw the work that it took to get there. I mean, 6 hours a day of work to sit on the end of the fucking bench in the NBA. Get 2 minutes a game. Took 6 hours a day, 5 days a week of work in the off season. And to even get to the NBA in the college years and the high school years, you have to dedicate yourself to basketball 5 to 10 hours a day, starting at the age of 14, 15, if you want to make the NBA or be really good in college. You got to dedicate 5 to 10 hours a day to the game. And I asked myself, well, if it takes this much dedication to get a scholarship in basketball or make the NBA, what if our children spent that same amount of time or even half that time cultivating the other things that they like? Yeah, they like basketball, but they also like sitting on that tablet a lot. What if if they dedicated that much time to learning how the tablet works, the coding it takes to get the game that they like to play, and put them in the same way we enroll them in basketball? Because look, black folks got money when we want it. To put your kid in AAU basketball is going to cost you at least $5 to $10 grand per child every year. Tournament fees are going to put you at over $500 or $600 a month. And then you got the travel games. The travel game is going to put you up at least $1,000 for your kid to fly out to the Pangos tournament in Long Beach, or the Fab 48 in Vegas or Orlando. It's a serious money commitment. if you want your child to play basketball and play AAU ball. And I saw niggas had the money for that. I'm like, okay, what about if they use half that money to put them in some sort of coding class and get them certified in how to build these programs and apps? They already like being there. How much money could they make then? How much money could these children make if they're spending the 5 or 10 hours a day it takes to make the NBA, if you're spending half that time on being great at math? You know the jobs out there that need people who understand math at a very high level, and how much money these people are making? They making more than anybody in the NBA is, I'll tell you that. Well, not anybody, most of the NBA. And then I was there when the NBA had its lockout back in 2011. I remember players sending me the memos after every meeting, seeing how the money was broken down and the revenue sharing. You really got to see. And look at it now. Each team, it's only 2 or 3 players that has like really big money that they can retire the rest of their life on. The other 10 players are literally playing contract to contract. You got a $15 million 3-year deal. Whoop-de-doo. When you look at all of the expenses it takes to be an athlete, the hangers on around you, and you're only 23, 24 years old, you don't even know better yet. The amount of money they pay these trainers in the off season to stay in tip-top shape. It costs a lot of money. They don't have enough money to last them past 3 to 4 years after they retire. I'm talking 85% of the people who make the NBA. I ain't even talking about those who don't. 80 to 85% of the people who make the NBA don't make enough to live 3 to 4 years past their last contract. So even though you get there, you're done by the age of 28, 32. What you gonna do for the next 50 years of your life? You got to be able to know what is cracking within you. That's my spiel. What's some questions y'all have here in the chat room? Ask me some questions. Ask me some questions. I should have turned the phone line on with this. Oh well. Kind of still resisting that phone thing. APJ said they got to learn how to invest. Well, remember this. We say that a lot, but what does that really mean? The first investment is yourself. You better invest in yourself before you invest in cryptocurrency. You better invest in yourself before you invest in the stock market. You better put your money back into you first. Another NBA players need their own league. How do NBA players get their own league when they're spending 12 hours a day to just stay in the league? Hell, most of us don't want to do what it takes to start our own business after an 8-hour workday. You know how tired you are after work. I don't even tell players to get their own league. They working 12 hours a day to just stay in the league. They ain't got the energy nor the wisdom to create their own league. What's up, Tasha Ray? If the NBA players get their own league, you know who it's going to take? It's going to take those of us who watch the NBA to create it. That's not their responsibility. That's ours, if that's what we want. I personally don't give a damn about the sport anymore. I just watch it, but I think black people pay too much attention to the NBA, so I'm not willing to create a league. But since I'm not willing to create a league, I'm not going to criticize them. NBA players got 10 years to make all the money they're going to make the rest of their life. No, they're not going to start their own league. They literally have 10 years to make all the money they're going to make the rest of their life. They're not starting a league. The people got to start a league for them to join. When am I going back on 5150? Hell, whenever Corey called me, 5150 is dope. I like Cube's 3-on-3 league. How do you deal with anxiety? You deal with anxiety by dealing with the problems that's making you anxious. That's how you deal with anxiety. You deal with anxiety by getting quiet and finding out what you're anxious about, then doing it. Which, oh yeah, this is one thing I did want to say. This is part of my book. This is one of the words of wisdom that I put in my book right here. And we're gonna break this down on my webinar. And you're gonna get this is just a quick snapshot of some of the wisdom that's in my book. Always remember, positive affirmations alone are not enough. See, a lot of times you get these people who go around telling you, oh, just like they watched that movie The Secret. Oh, if I just call it into being, it's gonna come. Oh, if I just have faith. Well, look, even the Bible say faith without works is dead. For those of you who are still into the Bible, positive affirmations alone are not enough. Positive affirmations undergird your movement. They're the fuel to wake up out the bed, you know? Affirmations are the fuel that propel your actions. Actions you act upon daily. Sometimes you make big strides. Other days you make baby steps. All that matters is you keep moving forward. That's all that matters is you keep moving forward. Remember this. Progress is not a straight line. Progress is oftentimes 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. All that matters is when you stumble and fall, you get up and move forward. The stumbles in life are lessons learned. Learn why you stumbled. Use that lesson as wisdom, which enables you to move forward. Don't get so frustrated with yourself that you quit. To stumble and make mistakes is human. Shake it off and keep pushing. I wrote that in the book through my personal journeys and through my years in working in mental health. The line of progress is never straight. Never, 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 never. Never, 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 never. No matter how good you are at something, no matter how better you are at getting something, look, man, you gonna fall. Question is, when you fall, are you gonna sit there and cry and stay there? Or are you gonna get up and move forward? Doom asked me, Shroom, I don't do either ors. I never done that tea you're talking about. Ayahuasca tea? I want to try ayahuasca tea. I've never tried ayahuasca tea. I do want to try it. But I will tell you this. Shrooms are a major help when it comes to getting answers within. I am not a doctor. Disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I can only tell you what I've done. And I will tell you, mushrooms have definitely helped. Everything ain't for everybody. Like I was talking to somebody yesterday, mushrooms didn't do anything for them. But this is also somebody who does like hardcore drugs. I don't do hardcore drugs. I don't do any kind of drug created in the lab. I do that shit that came out the ground, weed and mushrooms. I don't do nothing else. I would like to try ayahuasca because ayahuasca is some more natural shit. But this was somebody who does like ecstasy and that kind of shit. So yeah, mushrooms didn't help that person out. But mushrooms definitely helped me out. I do not talk about mushrooms in this book. I will talk about them a little bit on the webinar if you guys want to know more. But I'm only going to speak from my experience. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm only going to speak from my experience. But I'll tell you this. If you write down questions that you want to know from within before you take those mushrooms, write them on a piece of paper. Get very clear about what you want to know. You eat a mushroom, especially the thick ones. The thick ones are the indica ones, more internal. The thin stems are the more psychedelic. They'll have your ass looking and seeing vividly. But they both do both, but one is heavier on the other. The thick stems, you ask yourself some questions going into that trip. You will most definitely get some answers. And you won't be so faded that you don't remember anything. You will definitely remember everything that happened on that trip. I do recommend you getting a pen and notepad to write down some of the important things that you experience and see. But you'll come out of that trip with some motherfucking answers. I'll tell you that much. Hit the like button. Yes. But yeah, remember this, like, when you getting better in life, you gonna stumble. That's why I always say don't judge other people's stumbles. Because as they stumble, if they're being wise, they're gonna learn the lesson in the stumble. When you look back in your life, a lot of the shit that you winning on now, things that you're winning, things that you get right, and successes that you have now, usually come from a defeat that you once had that you learned from. Yeah, he said he finna take some now. I said, I am not a doctor. I am not giving any medical advice. I am not giving, full disclaimer, I ain't giving no, I'm just a nigga that is telling some stories about what's worked for me and observations I've noticed work for other people. You dig? What about disabled people learning to code? Here's the thing about the new world. The new world that we're in, there's an article that came out earlier this week. That's a good question, Mr. Me. There's an article that came out this week saying Google saved like $1 billion last year during the pandemic. And most of that savings went towards not having to house employees in an office, getting rid of rental space. So the world we're moving to is a decentralized work from home type world. And there are laws against the companies discriminating with people with disabilities. So there are people with autism and different quote unquote disabilities who found ways to do things in the tech field. The whole point is building that skill. If you have a skill within the tech field, they're going to hire you. And most of these places don't even want you to come in anymore. The whole point is you learn the code. Now you can't be like, okay, I'm disabled and I don't know how to code. Give me a coding job. It don't work like that. But there are disabled people who code every day. Good question, Doom. Why are niggas so emotionally attached to sports? Because we've been programmed, and black dudes specifically have accepted the programming of what you're able to do on a sports field physically is a connection to who you are as a person. I once accepted that programming. So glad I deprogrammed. But black dudes, not too many of us dudes aren't about the business of building. That's why sports is a distraction for people, for the easily distracted. It's a convenient distraction for the distracted. That's what sports is. That's what sports is. Somebody said, no, sports was never the only way to get out of poverty. The NBA employs about 400 people at a time. The NFL employs a little over 1,000 people at a time. There's 40 million black people. And most black people aren't in poverty. Most black people are not in poverty. Remember that. Most black people are not impoverished. What's gotten black people out of poverty is skilled labor. Always has, always will. What's gotten black people out of poverty is business. What's gotten black people out of poverty are the black people who crack the code to find the gifts they have within and learn how to sell those skills on the open market. That's what's gotten black people out of poverty. Sports is just what they show us. But sports is such a very small part. I told you I grew up when I went Ladera Heights, View Park, Baldwin Hills, here in LA. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of black people living in immaculate conditions. Very, 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 very few were athletes. I remember Byron Scott lived around the corner. He used to have a house over on Shenandoah. There's a few other athletes, but for the most part, there are very few athletes in that neighborhood. Very few. Very few. Yeah, sports is useless information. Part of the reason why I do what I do now, remembering history, is one day I had an epiphany. Doing the same self-motivation tool I'm going to teach you in this webinar, I did that for myself. That's why I'm able to teach it so well. I did this for me before I started teaching this shit to other people. When I used my rubric that I created on how to find my gift from within, I was like, damn, why is it I can remember everything about sports? If I have the skill where I can remember you give me throw the year out, I'll tell you the team that won the NBA championship that year. Why is it I remember, all of Kobe's and Magic stats? Why is it I know so much about sports? I should be able to use, if I could do all this with sports, I should be able to use this in other areas. That's when I really buckled in on my black history and my history overall. That's when I really buckled in on my investment information, learning how to invest. That's when I really buckled in on learning how to run business. So I'm like, if I have this skill when it comes to sports, I should damn well have this skill when it comes to useful information. And through finding something that I love through the vehicle of sports, I then figured it out and said, okay, if I applied the same skill other areas, I'll get success in those areas. I figured that out about 2009, and I've had nothing but success ever since. I had it bad, man. You throw out the year, I'll tell you the champion. 1997, Chicago Bulls. 1984, Boston Celtics. 1985, Lakers. 1991, Bulls. 1995, Rockets. 2003, fucking Pistons. That was Spurs. 2004 was Pistons. 2005 was Heat. 2009 was Lakers. 2011 was Mavericks. I'm like, okay, Dwan, you can do that. You can use that same skill when it comes to when I'm working with these kids. I got tired of kids asking me questions and me not knowing. So like, if I can do this shit, if I can recall sports shit this quick, I should be able to recall why Ida B. Wells is so important to black people and her newspaper and how she spread information and brought out lynchings to black folks. I should know why who A. Philip Randolph is and how he literally single-handedly created the black working middle class with his protest in 1941 on getting black people put into military-style jobs, and how he organized the Pullman Porters Union so those brothers started making more money. I should know the evolution of W.B. Du Bois, how he went from coon to somebody who understood the mistakes of his ways and taught black people that it takes a fool to basically align themselves with the Democratic Party. I'm like, okay, if I know that the MVP of the NBA in 1991 was Michael Jordan, that means I need to also know that it was Louis Armstrong that put to the forefront black improvisational music and made it palatable to the rest of the world. You know what I mean? I should know these things. Because if I know that it was Garrett Morgan who created the gas mask, if I know it was George Washington Carver who's America's greatest scientist, if I know these things, when I'm talking to the kids, when I'm teaching the kids, I have now useful information that's going to now grow their self-confidence, and through growing their self-confidence, they're going to be better students and better human beings. What good is it knowing that the Detroit Pistons were the champions in 1989? I just got a couple thumbs down. Somebody's butt hurt. Like, you gotta, you know what I mean? But again, this was my skill. Everybody has their own skill. I realized I had a skill of recalling information. Had it my whole life. Didn't recognize it until I did this rubric that I created that I'm going to teach you. Been there the whole time, didn't know it. Once I knew it, I knew how to take it and flip it. She said D.L. Hewley needs to know this. Down low Hewley. That's one sorry ass nigga right there, boy. I don't even know why I unfollow most blue check Twitter in period. Not just the black ones. I've been recently unfollowing blue check Twitter. They don't be talking about shit. And the algorithms, I can't even see my normal people that I like to follow on Twitter, the regular folks. I can't even see y'all. Because all these blue checks lying to us every damn tweet. Like down low Hewley. I tweeted D.L. Hewley the other day, like, so when are you gonna admit to misleading black folks and telling us to vote for Kamala just came out basically yesterday and said she agreed with Tim Scott that there is no racism in America. What you got to say about that, down low? Of course, he didn't respond to that. That's real talk, Mr. Original Thought. I don't think every success should be viewed so subjectively. You're right. I don't think anything. I think black people, we have to be the most thinkingest, analytical people on earth. We need to stop viewing everything subjectively from the surface level. We need to question everything that we view. Because we get so much misinformation and so lied to. Black folks, basically, the way we treat other black people when that's trying to preach, this isn't talking to y'all in the room, but we know in general the rule when it comes to us. The same critical analysis that we give a black person that's trying to teach us something is a skill that we need to apply to everybody trying to teach us something or trying to tell us something. See, black folks know how to get real analytical and nigga, they become Dick Tracy with the whole detective level questioning when a black person telling them something. But when a white person telling us something, we blindly accept it. We need to get analytical with everybody. I don't mind you being analytical with me because I'm not bullshitting you. I bring information with everything that I say. I stay out of the realm of things that I don't know and stick to the realm of things that I understand, or I at least have a desire to get deeper understanding of. So I don't mind people going there with me because I got the receipts to back what I say. I just ask that niggas do that with everybody. Grand Rising, Bakari, Devante. I just recommend we be this way with everybody. Oh yeah, they did do that raid on Giuliani. Sorry ass Law and Order Giuliani. Fuck him. He's a dirty motherfucker. Did y'all see that time he blew his nose and then wiped his head? Didn't even fold the handkerchief to the other side to wipe his head. He wiped his head with the same size he blew his nose with. That's a dirty dude. And he been shaking hands his whole life. What else y'all asking up here? What questions y'all got? If I missed your question earlier, re-ask it down here. Yeah, black folks need to really question anything being given to us by the system. If they're giving mainstream access, you need to really question it. Because the mainstream don't give access to people they don't fuck with. The mainstream don't give access to people who don't repeat what the mainstream once put out there. Your question, okay. What needs to happen over the next 5 years to put our demographic in a better position politically? What I'm talking about in this book, nothing needs to happen outside of us. Everyone out there has to find their gifts within, grow them, cultivate them into something that gives you a secure economic foundation. Because your economic foundation is going to be much more secure when it's a gift that you're giving than it is when you're dependent upon a job that may or may not be here next year, or a job that's paying you barely enough. You can't help us if you broke and working 12 hours a day. You're too tired. You got to help us. You can only help us when you're giving us the skill set that God gave you and brought you to this earth with. You have something unique within you that all the rest of us need. Facts. That's everybody listening with a willing ear. You have something within you that's needed by the collective. Problem is, people allow a job to pay them off every 2 weeks to not find that and to not give us that. What the collective needs in the next 5 years is way, 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 way more people finding that thing that they can push out to the rest of us that we can then receive from. Other people who are on code with each other. Coalesce, come together, and use one another's skills as a synergy. That's what's needed. You to find your gifts. Give those gifts. Sell those gifts to the rest of us. Because if we're buying it, it's something that you have to offer that we need. And that's why I think black people are in a better political footing now than we were 5 years ago. Because you have more and more black people finding themselves and finding those things within. They done fired us as much as they can't fire us any more than they firing us. They bringing all these immigrants in to take the jobs. They're gentrifying us out of our neighborhoods. So the coronavirus pushed a lot of black people within. And I will go so far as to say this. I think we're better off now as a people than we were going into this. Because a lot of us have been forced to do what's within. Because we had no other options. and because of that, a lot of people are winning. Someone asks, how do we do that when we are supporting how do we strengthen our economic base when we're supporting the hair industry? We can do two things at once. Look, the people buying weed, supporting that hair industry, doing that ratchet stuff, they're not here. They're not going to be taking this class. Look, there's always going to be a range of people. You're always going to have profane and profound all exist on the plane at the same time. You can't get focused on the people that are on the profane side of the game. They're going to keep doing it. All it takes is the people who are motivated to get on code with one another. 10% lead, 90% follow. Most people follow. If everybody who's motivated to be themselves, to find themselves, to cultivate themselves, and lend themselves back to the whole, they're going to be the ones leading. And that's all you got to focus on. Boom Quisha ain't going to start a hair care business. But it's people in here who do wear fake hair. I don't have an issue with fake hair, but it's certain people who do wear fake hair who have a business mindset who will start their business that will eventually hire black folks to work within it. We ain't got to worry about what the bottom of the barrel is doing. They get to exist too. When George Washington and the forefathers of this nation, Christmas addicts, decided to free the United States from the taxation without representation, empirical rule of Great Britain, remember, only 3% fought in that Revolutionary War. Only 3% of Americans thought that this country deserved to be its own place. Coming up on 240 years later, look who won. The focused few. Only 10% of Americans fought in the Civil War. Look who won. The focused few. Another question I have here. Steve Myers asks, peace. Question. The way social media is dumbing down people today, making them believe everything say so, do you think that we're in an age of common sense deficiency syndrome? The United States has always been had an issue with common sense. Let's just tell the truth. It ain't nothing new. Matter of fact, I would go so far as to say I think people are getting more wise now. Because I looked on Twitter today and I saw Tariq tweeted that Bug Breaking was the #1 selling DVD on Amazon. That wasn't going to happen 20 years ago. You weren't going to have a DVD on information outsell a comedy or a romantic drama. Not going to happen 20 years ago. In 2000, you got Jason Black. His stuff goes #1. You got places that spread different channels like mine that spread information that people love to listen to. People weren't on this like this 10, 15 years ago. So I'd go so far as to say people are getting smarter. Yes, there is a system that is dumbing down. That's why they shadow ban my channel and other channels like mine. They're trying. They're giving it a great effort to dumb things down. And there's a lot of dumb motherfuckers falling for it. But there's also a lot of pushback and a lot of people with wisdom that are pushing back and getting smarter. Oh yeah, the Biden sexuals are big mad right now. People that voted for Joe Biden told us to vote blue no matter who they are. Hella quiet. I'm not here to judge y'all. I'm just here to say that those of us quote unquote hoteps warned you before you cast your vote. Kendall's in the house. Hit up Kendall Cobb. Y'all seen my video with her from last month. Dope hypnotherapist. And I'm here to tell you she works. If you think hypnotherapy is BS, give Kendall a call. It works. And this is coming from someone who's worked in mental health for a long time. I wish I understood hypnotherapy a little more. Yeah, find your gift and then ensure you learn how to market it, package it, and grow it. Telling you, man, white supremacy is real on one level, but ultimately it's an illusion. It's an illusion. They throw the big illusion up there hoping that you believe it and buy it. So y'all know me, when I teach about white supremacy all the time, it may be weird. How you teach about white supremacy so much and call it an illusion? Because it takes exposing the illusion for the illusion to no longer work. The problem is people believe the illusion, and that's why the illusion continues to work. So I created a channel where I talk about how to defeat the system of white supremacy. I expose the illusion. That's what I'm doing. Every time I talk about race, 100% of the time, my goal is to expose the illusion. Because once the illusion is exposed, you can then go about the business of winning. Go back and watch the movie, no, it's not far calling an illusion. No, it's an illusion. The system is in place. All that's real. You gotta know you have to know the difference between real and true for you. There's a difference between real and true. Let me say that one more time, and I'm gonna go deep on this in my webinar. There is a difference between real and true. Is the system of white supremacy real? Yes, it's very real. You can go to any courtroom in America and see that every day of the week. But is it true that it can stop you? I don't know. Is it? That's why they keep all these court cases in front of you. The new Negro got killed this week. They want you to identify with that reality as if it's you. Now, once you make the choice to identify with that reality, whose choice was that? I saw what happened to George Floyd. Didn't happen to me. Not stopping me from going where I gotta go. Doing what I gotta do. On the day George Floyd was murdered, millions upon millions upon millions of people, black or melanated descent, also won that day. bought a house, closed a business deal, had interactions with the police that weren't deadly, what do you identify with? That's your choice. But remember, what you choose to identify with has a direct correlation on your trajectory. Now, could white supremacy come out? I could walk outside this door right now and a police officer pop me in the head. And it's all over. I understand that. I truly understand that that threat exists. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to let the fear of that threat stop me from living my life to the maximum while I'm here. What do you do during that dash between your birth date and your death date on your headstone? Do you sit under a rug fearful that white supremacy is going to get you and use it as an excuse to be on a job that you hate? Use that as an excuse to openly, blindly accept an income that's far beneath your skill set? Or are you going to spend that dash doing what the fuck you do anyway? And if that day comes, you just run short. That's what I mean by an illusion. You're going to die anyway. How you die is how you die. It's coming to all of us. Guaranteed. Some are going to die in their 40s, 50s, 60s. Some people are going to live into their 90s. But are you going to really sit there and allow a system to have you die every day of your life? You let a piece of you die every day by having these worries and anxieties over not doing something God is clearly giving you to do because it wakes you up. You go to sleep thinking about it. Every time you see someone else doing it, you feel it inside of you, but you don't do it because of what a white person may do. If you choose to live that lifestyle, that's on you. I don't. White supremacy ain't stopped me from getting shit. Now, it's definitely put up some roadblocks and made things be a little bit harder on me. But it ain't stopped me. It made me have to be a little more creative. It may give me a couple of additional sleepless nights. But the shit ain't stopped me. Because it can't. It can't. It literally cannot stop me. If Robert Smalls could escape slavery, steal a Confederate ship, drive it to the Union, come back, pick up his wife and his family, convince President Lincoln for black people to fight in the Civil War, recruit 5,000 black folks to fight in the Civil War, go back and purchase his slave master's house, run for Congress and make it, dying in the house that he was born a slave in, died an owner in. If Robert Smalls could do that in the fucking 1860s, don't tell me what white supremacy can do to stop you when you have a whole internet at your disposal. All white supremacy can do is make sure to never mention Robert Smalls and keep saying trans lives matter and the only successful black people play basketball and football and entertain people. That's all white supremacy can do, is throw me a whole bunch of half-truths and hope that I buy it. That's all white supremacy can do. You're right. Cop shop porn is to remind us we need to stay in our place. Restrictive. Black people have always had restrictive voting laws. Hell, black people couldn't vote. That never stopped us. That's never stopped us. My 3 times great granduncle, Adelbert Roberts, first black senator in the state of Illinois, 1924. They tried to stop black people from voting back then too. He still won it. Don't let no damn. Again, white supremacy is just them playing defense. It's sports. It's chess. Y'all, well, look, you expect your opponent to just let you get a layup and score? Well, that's kind of what we do to them. We kind of just let them score on us all day without playing any defense. Well, they're not like that. They're not going to just let us score. They're going to play defense, and they're going to play great defense. The thing black people need to understand is they had the same damn defensive moves over and over and over again. Watch some damn tape. That's the whole point of this show. This whole point of this show is to teach you how the system works so you can then find within you how you're going to approach it and win. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think people could win. Old Head Deuce. You can find my book. It will be on my website after Monday. The webinar is coming up on Sunday. It's in my link tree. In the description box, you can find the Eventbrite for the webinar. Purchase your tickets for Sunday's webinar because I'm going to be going all the way deep on the book. What you see right here is just one part of one page of the book. Shows you how deep this book goes. It's a very short book, but it's very deep, very useful information. No, I have not seen the movie Them, and I will not be watching the movie Them. It's I don't like people ripping off other people's ideas. That's Jordan Peele's idea that Lena Waithe kind of rip off. And I heard it's a whole bunch of trauma porn. I do not watch black trauma porn. I do not watch black trauma porn. We've won far too many times for me to sit back and watch us getting shot, beat, lynched, murdered, killed, done wrong. I'm done with that story. I understand that story well. I'm not going to keep entertaining that story. What's up, Ivor? That's my choice. I don't entertain the trauma and the trauma porn. I don't entertain the black people can't get above porn. I'm done with that. The only thing they can do is put up roadblocks. They can't stop shit. People die every day. You worried about white supremacy? You could die. Goddamn, is fucking insects running around here with poison that can bite you in your sleep and you'll never know. You just wake up in heaven. In life, there are certain risks in life. Life isn't see. That's one thing I like about Judge Joe Brown that he makes clear. Like, look, life isn't some peachy cream thing that's going to guarantee you the outcome that you want at the end of it, and everything's going to be safe. No, there are obstacles and barriers in life for everyone on every level. The damn rat has a barrier. The damn rat got to look out for the possum. Everybody got barriers. Everybody got something trying to kill them. Diseases and shit all around this motherfucker. China could drop a nuclear warhead on your city tomorrow. The whole point of life ain't to not worry about that, man. Build yourself up. Live your heaven on earth. Live it. And when the time come, the time come. People have all kinds of... People get very creative about what can go wrong. The whole point of this webinar, the point of this book, is to get creative about how to make it right. Get creative about how to win. It's a choice. We all have a choice. We can get creative about everything that can go wrong, or we can get creative about how we're going to control our destiny to win. How to protect ourselves from obstacles that will get in the way. Because one thing that's guaranteed, when you build something, somebody will try to take it. I don't know what black people think. You just gonna build some shit and these white folks just let you have it. They don't do that to each other. Business is warfare. That's what they say amongst each other. Companies like Bain Capital go around, put companies like Circuit City, KB Toys, Toys R Us out of business. These companies going because they need some assets for the next marketing campaign. And you got these investment firms coming in, giving them these crazy loan amounts to purposely sink the company. Then they short sell it, say this company gonna be out of business by December, and then use the resources they invested into those companies to drain those company resources to make sure that the company's out of business, collect all their management fees, and make more money on the back end with the short sale. That's how fucking business works. That's how they treat each other, black people. So we can't let a group of people who do that to one another stop us from trying. Please. I'd be damned if I let some degenerates stop me from winning. I appreciate that, Omar. I don't watch none of that suffer porn stuff. I don't support none of that stuff that has black folks. It's original thought. You can worry about whatever you choose to worry about. I'm not telling you. Don't let other people's thoughts control how you see your reality is all I'm saying. You choose it. If you choose to worry about white supremacy and spend all day worrying about it, that's your choice. I choose the path of creativity on how I'm going to get around this bullshit ass system regardless of what it throw my way. That's my choice. I don't worry about the system of white supremacy. I see it. And once you see it, the roadblocks are very obvious. It's not a very intelligent system. Meaning, system of white supremacy isn't innovative at all. It kind of does the same things over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But you'll never be able to see these patterns if you're worried about it. Worry, remember that broadcast I did a couple broadcasts ago about how the brain works. Worry keeps you in your reptilian brain, your lower brain. If you're worried, your thoughts never reach your frontal cortex, where reasoning and logic lies. As long as you're worried, the signals coming through your spine to your brain will stop in your lower brain, your reptilian brain. That's what worry does. That's why you don't worry about it. You learn it. And then you get creative on how to win regardless. But you can only reach the space of creativity on how to win when you stop the worry. You can never think clearly when you're worried. Again, that's what I'm going to get into more in this webinar. You know? What else y'all talking about in here? I'm about to get up out of here. I need to get the webinar this coming Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you're listening to this later, I will have the webinar up in replay. I encourage you to come when it's live, because you'll be able to ask me questions and stuff. But if you can't make it live, I will keep it up on my website. And my book is coming out real soon, the day after, on my way, and it'll be available on my website. Look at my t-shirts. I just got my new t-shirts. Get yours. Reparations now. Damn, waiting on them to say anything. If you're going to play a part of the political process, you create the policy. Reparations now. Let's just cut to the chase. No, I don't care about, okay, yeah, you sign whatever George Floyd bill, fine. What about my reparations now? That's what we got to be on as a people. That's what we got to be on as a people. And my book, No Time to Waste, it will be available next week, y'all, on my website, in my link tree. I'm going to put it on Hotepish, and I'm going to put it on my Breakthrough website. And it will be in my link tree. The standalone book will be available next week. But if you get the webinar, you get the book for free. You're right, Omar. Once you remove your emotions, you can easily see the agenda, and you can make logical decisions to combat the agenda. Each one teach one. That's the facts. And that's the whole point of this show, to point out the agenda, not to complain about the agenda, to just, from my point of view, point out the agenda. And then you can use your own skills and intelligence to whoop-de-whamp around the agenda. The website wasn't Canada friendly. I told it. I have it set to take international. Yeah, let me know. I'll find a way to get you that sweatshirt, Kendall. I'll find a way to get you the sweatshirt. For those who are wondering what sweatshirt she's talking about, this one right here, Hotepish. Get your sweatshirt. It's still cold in some areas. Get your scholars t-shirts. Get your coffee mugs. And I have an interview coming up with Incense and Ashtrays. I have an interview coming up with my man Charlie Burrell. Dope ass artist. Dope artist. Plays the guitar, Raphael Sadiq. He's a producer, a singer, a drummer. Dude plays all the instruments, and he's been on some of your favorite tracks. You just didn't know it. I'm going to interview Charlie next week. I don't know the date yet. And also get my live drum sample packs. I'll actually be back in the studio Wednesday on the drums again, recording some more live stuff. Get that. Let me see. You're right. They're going to keep throwing the distractions our way, but it's on us to stay focused. But yeah, please get my webinar. And I think maybe tonight or tomorrow, I might do like another Q&A from the garage. Y'all know I'll be in my dusty ass garage / my man cave doing my Q&As. I'll be doing another one of those either tonight or tomorrow night. Get with that. Then get the webinar coming up this coming Sunday. Love and I appreciate y'all. Remember, when we fight, we win. But motivation to fight comes from within, not from what your friends are doing, not from what someone's doing on TV, not from what a hater says you can't do, or whatever cliches they're used to teaching us. The motivation comes from within. You have to find your gifts within. Your gifts are there for you. They've always been there for you, and they're always there on the edge of your thought, waiting to come out. We just sometimes have to be taught where to look to find it. My program has helped people find these gifts. So that's what the book is about. That's what the webinar is about. And also my personal consultations. Remember this, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those who are willing to pick up the game. My name is Dwan B. We are out.